Hello, knife community, knife lovers, all viewers. Folder here. I'm going to do a review on the Kizer Cutlery VK-1. I did an unboxing yesterday, and under normal circumstances, I wouldn't be reviewing a knife this soon. I just got it, and I did an unboxing, carried it today, and I really like this knife. I mean, I like a lot of knives, but this is a little bit exceptional. I'm going to tell you why. Let's get the maintenance out the way first. Let's start off with dimensions, and we're looking at an 8-inch knife, 3.5-inch blade, okay, 3 1/4 cutting surface. Okay, so it's definitely got good dimensions when you're coming to the size. Perfect. And let's see what the weight is on this thing. I'll need to take the box out of the way. And what's going on? Reset. Okay, and we're gonna change the unit. Okay, and so it's 8-inch knife, and it weighs 3.7. I mean, it's a small knife. It's thin, but you know, it's titanium. 3.7. I mean, it's under 4 ounces. So that's nice. That's nice. Uh, yeah, and we can do some comparisons. And we can start off with the Demco AD 20.5. Very close in size. Demco is a little smaller. Line up the pivots. The handle's longer. A little bit more reach on the blade, but it's close. Same category. Right? The PM2. Let's check the PM2 next to this. Line up the pivots. Yeah, it's about the size of a PM2. Yeah, very, very, very close in size. Why is this thing looking ghetto here? Like my knife's dirty, especially on camera. All right, I'll do housekeeping some other time, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, very close to the PM2 in size. And how about the Koenig Arius? Also, Koenig Arius is a big knife. Okay, you line up the pivots, you can truly see that the Arius is bigger than this. So that's the comparison to a Koenig Arius. Yeah, and I'm going to leave this out because there's going to be another comparison later on that I'm going to use the Arius for with this knife. And finally, the ZT Zero Tolerance 0562 CF, which is a bigger knife. This is a big knife, you know, in dimensions and, you know, the length, but it's bigger than this. So it's a lot smaller than this knife. Look at the handle difference. It's significant, actually. So, but it's another lock bar that I bought to compare this with. Okay, so we have the Kizer Cutlery VK-1. It's in CPM S35VN, which, you know, we know that's legitimate steel. It's got machined titanium handles, and it's a frame lock. The blade is a Wharncliffe blade, flat grind Wharncliffe blade. Very nice shape. It's got a top swedge. The satin finish is nice. It's got some grind lines on it that look good. North to south, everywhere. It's got the Kizer logo on the blade, and it's almost identical in color to the handle, which is a nice touch. And it's got a copper inlay on the blade. Very nice. I like that thing. I like the way it looks. It adds a nice touch. The blade is a Wharncliffe with a point. Very pointy Wharncliffe blade. Very nice. These things cut very well. Because they don't have a belly, they do not come off the cut, you know. And what I mean by that is, let's use the conic Arius as an example. Okay, so the conic Arius, and we'll use this case as an example. If you're cutting this case with a conic Arius or any other knife that has a belly, at a certain point, the belly comes off the cut, right? You cut, and the belly comes off right there to the point. In order to keep the knife on the cut, you have to change the geometry. You have to pivot, right? You have to pivot to keep the knife on the cut, right? Wharncliffes obviously don't have that problem. They're straight edges. They maintain the cut, the same cut, all the way through to the tip. And if you did change the geometry, all you're doing is forcing the cut even deeper in that it's already there. So they have a sort of different purpose. You know, Wharncliffe blades, especially the ones these shapes, are used for you know, defense, not tactical knives and defense knives a lot, because of the fact that they do have the thrusting advantage because of the way they're shaped, and of course the cutting surface is a flat you know, a flat edge, you know. So, you know, when you're talking about tactical, it's, you know, boom, 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 right? So at any rate, that's the reason why. Also, it's one of the reasons why I'm not in love with these types of knives for EDC. And the reason why I'm not, especially in S30, you know, or S35, or one of these stainless steels that don't have incredible toughness, is because you have very thin tips. Very thin. You can break these. Matter of fact, people break knives all the time, using them for things that they're not intended for. And sometimes what they are intended for. If you're cutting something and you're in a tight area, say you're working on a car or something and you're trying to get something that's tight, and you have to put the knife in and then sort of maybe turn it a little bit before you do the cut, yeah, you tend to, you know, you put a lot of pressure on these tips, and, you know, they can break. And that's why, you know, Wharncliffes, as amazing as they are, you know, you don't want to break the tip off of a knife, because then it's pretty much useless. So if you're going to have something like this, you want it to be in a steel, you know, Cruwear 3V. You know, you want it to be in something that is a really tough steel. I actually ordered a knife that's coming that fits that criteria. I'm very excited to get it. Anyway, yeah, so that's the blade and the cutting. The handle on this thing is really nice. It has very nice contouring. It's got contouring. You know, it's contoured. You can tell, especially by looking at the pivots. You look at the pivot bolt, you can see the high area over here and the lower area over here. That's because of the contour of the handle. And they did the same thing with the pocket clip, which actually is excellent, by the way. But the contouring is excellent. You can see the curvature of the handle, of the scales, and so that's why there's machining where they brought part of the surface of the scale up to meet the pocket clip. Very nice. I checked these the bolts, and they're T6s, and the center is a T8. Yeah, it's not shocking. T6, it's a small stature knife. Lanyard holes, beautiful. The machining and the tooling around this whole thing is exceptional. The lock bar, because it's a frame lock, right? The lock bar is very easy to get to. I mean, they really made this very nice the way they allowed this access here. They did a good job with that. And you can also see on the frame lock here the beautiful contouring on the lock itself, on the lock bar itself. It's really, really good. So it's extremely comfortable. I mean, when you take this thing and and deploy the unlocking mechanism is very nice. Blade is not drop shutty, but it is definitely shake shutty. You break the detent and it will go down. Yeah, it's not a heavy blade, so it's not going to drop, it's not going to drop like a Koenig Arius. Of course not. I mean, this knife, it's tuned for that. But this is a much smaller blade, so it's not going to operate like that, but it does come down nice. And deployment is just the flipper tab. That's it. There's no other deployment, whereas, a knife like this has multiple forms of deployment. It just has the one tab, and is jimping where it should be, and no jimping where it shouldn't be. And boom, very easy to fire this thing out. It's very, very nice. Matter of fact, when you look at this knife compared to some other really, really nice knives, high-end stuff that I really like, the fact that it doesn't have that pecker is really refreshing. Because that thing, where is it? Yeah. That thing? Yeah. Right? I'm just kidding. Anyway. Yeah. So this thing right here, as amazing as it is, technically, it's something that, I mean, in this knife, in the ZT, it's used as part of the ergos in the handle. But let's face it, from an aesthetic standpoint, I mean, look at it. It's just sticking up there. Compare that to this. How they just contoured it into the overall artistry of the knife. Really, really nice. And to be honest with you, these knives look good closed. I actually like how knives look closed as well as open. This is a good looking knife closed. This is a better looking knife closed. And this is absolutely gorgeous closed also. If you look at the way the knife looks closed, I mean, it really, really looks good. They cared about that. You compare that to a Demko, which looks like an unfinished knife closed. I mean, look at this gap. So you don't see any of those types of things with these types of knives. And listen, I'm criticizing Demko, but anyone knows me, I love Demkos. I mean, I absolutely love Demkos. So, but when it comes to artistry, they definitely don't have it. The pocket clip is excellent. It seats exactly where it should be. It's very easy to pull this tool out of your pocket. As a matter of fact, today I was at work and I just was able to pull this thing out of my pocket, seated. Didn't have to adjust my body, geometry, nothing. Just grabbed on it and came right back out and deployed it right back in my pocket very easily, seated. Didn't have to get up and nothing. So the clip is functional and it disappears in your hand. You do not feel this thing one iota. It's like it doesn't even have a clip. So it's doing its job. It's there when it should be, not there when it shouldn't be. What do I have bad to say about this knife? I was going to say that the blade is a little close here, and maybe there's a chance that you might be able to touch that and cut your finger. But no, it doesn't. It looks like it is, but it's not. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I mean, I really am. I apologize. I really feel I should be doing a critique on this knife and come with pros and cons, and I can't think of a con. I haven't taken it apart. Maybe if I once I do that, I'll be able to come up with some type of con. The only thing I could say is one deployment option. It only has this tab, whereas something like the Koenig obviously has the tab. You can reverse flick it. You can pinky flick it. I mean, all these different options you can do, and this does not have that. So from a fidget standpoint, I'm criticizing the knife. Fidget. Yeah, it doesn't fidget as good as the other knives. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. So that's it. That's all I got. Kizer Cutlery VK-1 CPM S35 VN frame lock. Yeah. This is nice. Have a good day.